So, a Savannah grand jury has indicted a former police officer for ending the life of a black man, Saudi Lee, I can't say his middle name, in 2022. The history on this cop gets crazy after he gets fired. But what's hard to find, and I had to dig all the way back to 3 years ago to even find out that everything says fired police officer indicted for murder. Well, no, they need to say, if he's fired, they need to say former police officer who is accused of murdering Saudi Lee while on duty during a foot chase. It doesn't hardly give you any of that. They like to tell you that he's done a lot of bad things since then, but the important thing is he was a cop when he did it. That's the parts that I'm doing. Anyway, 5 hours ago, this news came back that he has been indicted for the M word that I already said, but I don't want to push it, against a young black man, Saudi Arai Lee. And we're going to watch the videos and give me your feedback, and we'll see how it goes.
In the case of a former Savannah police officer charged with murder, former SPD officer Ernest Ferguson appeared in court today after being indicted by a grand jury back in September for the death of Saudi Lee in 2022.
All right, now this is an update from 9 months ago. So the good stuff comes after this, but I wanted you to hear this because this tells you about his recent history.
I have been drinking tonight. You have? I have not.
You're watching the moment former SPD officer Ernest Ferguson was arrested for drunk driving in September 2022. He would later be arrested for shoplifting, possession of drugs, and robbery by sudden snatching. But none of these are the severest of crimes Ferguson is accused of committing. The former officer was indicted on 8 counts in connection to the fatal shooting of 31-year-old Saudi Lee after a foot chase in June 2022. Ferguson pled not guilty in court Tuesday afternoon. Ferguson and Saudi Lee's family will now head to trial. Neither party, including the DA's office, has responded to WJCL's request for a comment on Ferguson's plea. Ferguson faces 3 counts of felony murder, 2 counts of making a false statement during a criminal investigation, false imprisonment, aggravated assault, and aggravated battery.
Okay, this was right at about now. It's been about 8 hours ago. This is, well, at 11 o'clock is when they released it, but it's almost 3 here now in the morning. But this is just yesterday that they've given us an update finally on what's going on with this murderous cop.
Savannah police officer appearing in court and requesting bond as he faces charges in connection to a deadly 2022 shooting. Former officer Ernest Ferguson is facing several charges, including murder in the death of Saudi Lee. WTOC's Cam McCam was at the courthouse today as the defense argued that Ferguson should be allowed bond.
This doctor's testimony this morning, it just really helps reaffirm that Megan and I are making the right decision.
Ernest Christopher Ferguson is a former Savannah police officer arrested on felony murder charges in the shooting death of 31-year-old Saudi Lee in 2022. In a request for bond on Monday, Ferguson's lawyers brought 2 witnesses to testify. The first was a licensed counselor who gave a mental evaluation of the defendant.
Given the nature of the situation, his support system, and the things that he's been through, if he were to get into treatment, the likelihood of him reoffending is in the low range.
Likelihood to reoffend was one of the main reasons why Ferguson's bond was denied before. But Monday, the defense claimed Ferguson's actions since the deadly 2022 shooting make it unlikely he'll commit another crime.
Oh, really? Really?
I have been drinking tonight. You have? I have not.
You're watching the moment former SPD officer Ernest Ferguson was arrested for drunk driving in September 2022. He would later be arrested for shoplifting, possession of drugs, and robbery by sudden snatching.
The journey that Mr. Ferguson has shown us through the witnesses that we provided is that he's making positive steps, do positive things in the communities that he lives in.
The other witness was the owner of a car dealership in San Antonio, Texas, where Ferguson once worked. Eric Leuven says he has witnessed Ferguson's journey to sobriety and has agreed to be the guardian for the former officer if released on bond.
Would you be able to provide around-the-clock supervision for him?
Yes.
Okay. You're going to be working with him? He's
We're
going to
going
be
to be
living
working together. He's going to be living in our house. I mean, he's going to be around us all the time.
The judge did not make a decision on Ferguson's bond today. The next court appearance is scheduled for November 21st. In Savannah, Cam McCann, WTOC News.
Okay, so this thug was a thug before he became a cop, and then he became a cop, and he committed thuggery while a cop, and then once they fired him, he went back to thuggery, robbing everybody, and dude, this dude needs to be under the prison. This is a scary guy, y'all.